NYTD surveys are commonly administered over the telephone by asking the questions while the survey administrator enters the responses into the NYTD database. This second scenario shows a phone call between a survey administrator, in this case, a statewide NYTD outreach coordinator who administers the NYTD surveys, and a young person. The survey administrator emailed the survey to the youth and scheduled this date and time to complete the survey. The survey administrator is sitting at the computer with an office phone so they can call the youth and enter the responses into the NYTD database in real time. The young person answers the call on their cell phone. The young person remembers taking the survey at age 19. Let's take a look.
Hello?
Hey Nathan, this is Jenny Wilson, the statewide NYTD outreach coordinator. We emailed earlier this week about doing the 21-year-old NYTD survey at this time. Are you able to hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. It is a bit noisy here. I'm sorry, I was hoping to get my workout done before our call today.
That's okay. It does sound pretty noisy on my end though, and I am having trouble hearing you. It might be hard for you to hear everything that I asked too.
Is there any way you can go somewhere quieter where you feel comfortable answering questions that are a bit personal?
Okay. I'm in my room. This is much better.
Appreciate you moving.
It's much quieter on my end also. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. As I mentioned, my name is Jenny, and I work for the state as their NYTD outreach coordinator, which basically means that I help youth and young adults complete the NYTD surveys at 17, 19, and 21. Again,
Thank you so much for scheduling this time to talk with me today so we can complete the NYTD survey.
before we get started with the survey questions, there's a few things that I want you to know.
First, your participation is 100% voluntary, meaning that it's your choice to participate.
So again, really appreciate you agreeing to take the survey today. If I ask a question that you're not comfortable answering, you can decline it and it's 100% okay. The information that you share will be kept confidential
And will also be used to improve the programs and services for older youth in foster care here in our state.
It'll take us about 15 minutes to get through the entire survey, and then at the end, we'll talk about what incentive you want. Do you have any questions, and are you okay with completing the survey?
I don't have any questions, and I'm fine with you asking me the questions.
Okay, cool. Please feel free to ask questions if they come up as we go through the survey. I hope you were able to look at the copy of the survey emailed to you before this meeting. Feel free to pull it up
If that helps and follow along.
I don't know if this is the survey, but I remember taking it a couple of years ago. I have the survey you emailed to me pulled up on my laptop to follow along.
Great, we can get started then. What is your full name and
And date of birth.
Sure, it's Nathan Sean King, June 5th, 2002.
Thank you.
I'm entering today's date. And now we'll get started with the questions. So just to be upfront with you, some of the questions
May seem pretty formal, and it's because I'm required to ask them exactly how the federal government has them written. So if they don't make sense, please let me know and I can explain them.
Okay, let's get started. So for this part of the survey, you can answer yes, no, or decline. Later on, there'll be other answers you can provide, but we'll get to that when it's time. The first set of questions are about employment and money. Currently, are you employed full-time? This means that you're working at least 35 hours per week.
No, I have a couple part-time jobs to help me while I try to get into a program, but not a full-time job.
Oh, cool. How many hours do you work at each job?
I work at the bookstore more, which is 15 hours a week, and my other job at the electronics store is anywhere from 10 to 15 hours a week. I'm going into the IT field.
IT? That's awesome. That sounds like you work at least 30 hours a week between both.
Right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, cool. That doesn't count as full-time because it's less than 35 hours. Are you okay with me marking no for this question?
Yes, please put that.
Thank you. The next question is, currently, are you employed part-time? Part-time means working at least 1 to 34 hours per week at one or multiple jobs. And from what we just talked about, it sounds like you're working part-time at 2 different jobs.
Right?
Yeah, you can put yes for this one.
The NYTD survey administrator continues to ask each question, provides a description to clarify the question, and enters into the database. Before asking the NYTD survey questions about homelessness, incarceration, children, and marriage at childbirth. The NYTD survey administrator lets the young person know some of the next questions are personal and deep, and the youth does not have to answer the questions. They can simply say decline or pass, and the survey administrator will move on to the next question. The NYTD survey administrator gets to the health insurance question. The survey administrator may clarify this question by specifically asking about the name used for Medicaid in the young person's state or describe the card. The NYTD survey administrator also explains the remaining questions have the additional option to answer don't know.
All right, we're so close to being finished with the survey. I appreciate you answering all of the questions so far, especially those that were very deep and personal. I mentioned when we first started this survey that there would be questions you can answer don't know to. The rest of the questions that I'm going to ask have that option. So the last set of questions are about health insurance. Currently, are you on Medicaid? In our state, we call it foster care health insurance, and you may have received like a purple card with a heart on it that said foster care health insurance.
I have no idea.
That's okay. We can mark don't know for this one. When we're done with the survey, we can talk about how you can get health insurance if you want.
That would be awesome. I need all the support I can get.
All right, the next question is, currently, do you have health insurance other than Medicaid?
I don't know about that either.
Okay, we'll mark don't know for that one too. That's all the questions that I have. So again, thank you so much for doing the survey. So now let's talk about the incentive that you're entitled to, and we can also talk about how we can get you connected with health insurance and other resources.
The NYTD survey administrator continues to ask each question, provides a description to clarify the question, and enters into the database. Since this is the 21-year-old follow-up survey, there is no need to work with the young person to gather current information for the survey, but it is always recommended. The survey administrator works with the youth to provide information about health insurance in the state and how to access it, and works with incentive options. To recap Scenario 2, which is one of the more common ways states administer the NYTD survey, the survey administrator and young person completed the NYTD survey over the telephone at a date and time that the youth chose. The survey administrator explained participation is voluntary, information is kept confidential, the young person can decline to answer questions, and explained the purpose of collecting NYTD data and how it is used. Youth gave informed consent to complete the survey after this was explained to them. The survey administrator worked with the young person to be in a quiet location with no distractions, where the youth felt comfortable and could answer personal questions. Responses were confirmed by a young person. The survey administrator entered responses into the NYTD database in real time. The survey administrator presented questions as groups by topic that was young person friendly and made it easy to understand types of questions being asked. The survey administrator connected youth to resources identified during the meeting. The survey administrator explored incentive options with the young person.